Ronald David Scott. I'm Ronnie to everybody. I was born in the city of Buenos Aires on the 20th of October, 1917. 103. Well, I've had good experiences. I've got good memories. In 1939, I'd heard that war was on the way. The atrocities that Hitler produced, I said, well, I have to go. I have no option. My Christian background, something had to be done to stop the bastard. What they were interested in is trying to put down my accent, because they said it's not Oxford, it's not Cambridge, it's not England. When I said it was Argentine, they said, where's the Argentine?
Bueno, me llamo Claudio Meunier, me he dedicado durante más de 20 años a escribir sobre los pilotos voluntarios argentinos que participaron en la Primera y en la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Yo creo que no ha sido celebrado y no tuvo el gran valor esa historia, porque cuando el mundo celebraba el fin de la guerra, en Argentina, el gobierno de turno de ese momento traía a todos los nazis a Argentina. Y esa historia también tapó la otra historia, que era la historia de nuestros voluntarios. En la Segunda Guerra Mundial, solamente con las fuerzas británicas fueron 2.000 de nuestros voluntarios. También fueron con los franceses, fueron con los belgas, fueron con los americanos. Creo que nunca vamos a poder saber exactamente cuántos fueron, porque siempre aparecen nuevos voluntarios. Solamente puedo decirte que de esos 2.000 voluntarios con las fuerzas británicas, 860 fueron al Royal Navy. 160 de ellos fueron oficiales. 16 de ellos fueron aviadores. Y entre esos 16 aviadores y oficiales se encontraba Ronnie Scott.
Buenos Aires, in 1920, there must have been at least 50,000 Brits. We had our areas. There's Quilmes, Lomas, Belgrano, Devoto, Hurlingham. They were a nucleus, but I recognize that I had no real connection with England or Scotland. I always had the idea that I'd like to go there. You accepted England and Scotland as something you wanted to be part of. I used to go to Hurlingham Club, and I was watching a polo match, and somebody galloped up, right up to the fence, and I realized it was Edward Windsor. I heard a lot about Prince of Wales, and he said to me, would you kindly get me a tonic water? So I said, yes, sir. We talked a bit, and he said, have you seen the Eagle? And I said, I know it's in BA. So he said, would you like to see it? I said, definitely. Eagle was an aircraft carrier of the initial type, which was a ship long enough that they'd sort of cleaned up to have a deck. And they were using biplanes from World War I. I got up and down a couple of aeroplanes. I came away and I was going to try and do my best to be a naval pilot.
(1939) and a September dawn saw German troops in Poland, and most of the world soon at war.
Hitler was absolutely a bloody end. I felt that I had to try and somehow or other have a bash at him. I volunteered in '42, and there must have been at least 2,000 volunteers, and it kept on coming on. So I went to the embassy and said, I'm one volunteer more, but I have a condition, not the RAF. Everybody wanted to go into the RAF. I wanted to be a naval pilot with that experience I'd had. I liked the atmosphere on board ship of the Eagle. It was a nice atmosphere. We were sent to Canada for the training. It was the first time we were there on the shores of Lake Huron, and it was tremendous. I think the Spitz was the one that I most liked. Once in the air, you did what you liked with it. You flew anywhere. The nicest thing is a day with cumulus clouds, and you're trying to up and roll around them. That is a feeling of freedom, a feeling of ecstasy, if you like.
Cuando la Segunda Guerra Mundial comenzó, los primeros argentinos volaron en la batalla de Francia, luego volaron en Dunkirk, volaron en la batalla de Gran Bretaña. Eran personas que estaban en el sur del planeta, muy al sur, y habían ido en ayuda de ellos, porque Gran Bretaña era el último bastión de la democracia y era la defensa de la isla. Y era una cruzada para ellos.
My first real realization of war was coming down the main road from Liverpool to London and seeing churches destroyed and everything around it destroyed. And civilization was basically the church with the people around. War is destruction. I had 5 weeks free around London, and I got a pass to the visitors' gallery in Commons, and I was looking at Churchill 2 meters away from me, and I was intaking his spirit.
We shall never surrender.
Everybody accepted Churchill's talk, and you know that it simply is the only way to go. You have no other way. You can't surrender. You've got to do your best. I went over to 794 Squadron. I was a pilot with another 4 or 5 pilots, and we would get our plane, which was a Masters. I was in the plane releasing a drone so that pilots could aim and get firing practice.
So the RAF were using you as target practice?
Well, somehow you have to improve the aim of the attacking pilot now. What can I say? I think I did what I should have done.
Unter den orgelnden, unheimlichen Tönen von V1 leben London und die angegriffenen Teile Südenglands in ständiger Furcht und Nervosität einer ungewissen Zukunft entgegen.
There were occasions when you knew you were on a thread. You have the situation, the Germans were trying to bomb St. Paul's Cathedral. I was there in the naval main quarters, tracing V1s that are coming to London. And, you know, one of those things would destroy everything 100 yards around it, minimum. War is a bloody horrible thing. You have people with families that get shelled out of existence. War is stupid. More or less 4,000 went to the war. And we were about 25 veterans left, and able-bodied, in other words, that get around on their feet. I don't think there are more than 10. I just happened to be lucky.
Conocerlos a ellos fue revelador. Mi mensaje es el esfuerzo de la guerra vino también desde unos lugares muy lejanos desde Inglaterra, que hubo gente muy valiosa, tuvo gente muy valiosa y que murió por la causa de la democracia ayudando a Gran Bretaña. Y eso es lo que se tiene que saber, que Argentina no fue una cuna de nazis, fue una cuna de caballeros también.
So we have a memorial wall here, almost 900 people who died in action. The Legion of the living salute the Legion of the dead. At the setting of the sun and in the mornings, we will remember them. It was Thomas Bell, David Anderson, Richard Ager. We have a couple of Churchills here. Hugh Anson May was a personal friend of mine, and he was torpedoed by German submarines in the Mediterranean. So he lost his life there.
Los voluntarios argentinos, culminada la guerra, volvieron a tener relaciones con sus oponentes. Tuvieron respeto solamente con aquellos que habían luchado cara a cara en los campos de batalla. La guerra había terminado. Había una hermandad que era el dolor. El dolor los había marcado a todos.
And here we're going towards the German cemetery, where we had a reconciliation service and opened up the wall between us. I have a close relationship with a number of Germans that are good buds. So in this life, we try and keep together with the good buds, whether they're Brits or Germans or anything else. A good bud who's a good sport, has a ready smile, deserves to be at least listened to. And my philosophy is I prefer to listen than to talk.
Ronnie Scott es un caballero de otros tiempos. Eso es lo que es él. Es un ícono nuestro.
Adelante.
Ronnie, ¿cómo estás?
Mira, estoy acá. Tengo un grupo de 3 británicos que me están filmando.
¿Qué? ¿Querés la llave? ¿Encontraste la llave del auto?
Sí, tengo la llave del auto.
Ah, bueno, eso es lo que quería, porque estoy en la calle, si no pasaba por tu casa para buscarlo justo. Saludos a la gente ahí, que la pase bien. Chao, chao.
Saludos. Bye bye, che.
Bye.
This is a very good friend of mine, a German, who at the age of 5 was in Berlin watching the Russians making another up. Okay.
Can you tell me who is in that photograph?
Well, that's yours truly. El Ronaldo, El Ronnie. Oh, it was such a bloody mess. There were moments when you wanted to turn off. That's the time when you have to try and think good things. But momentarily, nothing's happening. You're not going forward, back, or sideways. And you're in space, in time, and you are nothing. No somos nada. I've known those moments when everything for one is still. There's no movement, there's no thought. You're just lost in time. And you have to go forward from that moment. You have to go forward.